this per year, resetting the quarterback market, and it's like crickets.
No.
And the crazy thing is...
Well, is it crickets because everybody's cool with it? Or is it crickets because nobody cares about the Niners right now after losing the Super Bowl just 2 months ago? I'm not saying that nobody cares about the Niners.
I know what you mean. But we're fatigued. I heard from my buddy Micah Carter the other day. He goes, I can't even listen. I go, why? He's like, the Niners. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, I'm just coming back out of hibernation. There's a lot of people do that. I get it.
It's like 408. Is Brock a system quarterback? Could you open a segment about that? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to come out and say...
We've talked about that for 4 years.
I don't want to come out and say...
About all the quarterbacks.
Hey, Brock Purdy's a product of the system. Like, I'm good off that. I'm scared to even criticize Brock Purdy. I'm scared to even talk about an interception he threw on Christmas Day. Like,
well, he threw like 1,000.
Well, he should have thrown 7 picks.
Speaking of Christmas Day.
And I'm scared to even say that because, Bonte, you're nitpicking. You're hard on Brock. You're racist. You don't like white quarterbacks. That's what happens when you disrespect Brock or even remotely come close to
you love Dan Marino.
Any constructive criticism about Brock Purdy, and people fly off the handle. I've never seen anything like it. I thought Jimmy was bad. No. Jimmy's got nothing on Brock Purdy when it comes to critiquing Brock Purdy in any throw that he made this past season.
We can all agree, though, the second he cashes in, whatever that number is, the equation changes for him and how a lot of people view him. Not everyone, but how a lot of people are going to view him is going to change. Would you not agree? Like, part of baked into the Jimmy Garoppolo 2019 conversation, the 2018 conversation, the 2020 conversation was, Jimmy's making $28 million a year, right? Was that not in it?
Yeah.
Part of how we viewed Nick Bosa. He's making $120 guaranteed million. He held out for this. 45% of the 49ers salary cap is based on the defensive line. Right. This is the production we're getting.
Right.
Debo Samuel. He's making almost $30 million a year.
A lot of people don't think he's worth the $28 million. But think about how we talk about Klay Thompson who's won 4 championships.
Exactly.
Think about how we talk about Andrew Wiggins and Draymond and all these. Hell, even there's a cynic out there saying Steph Curry's not worth $50 million a year.
Belt, Crawford, pick the player, no matter how beloved. Once we start attaching the money to them, and then there comes expectations, the viewpoint on that player changes.
I think about Nick Bosa all the time. And your viewpoint about Nick Bosa.
It has changed.
It's changed completely.
Well, the way it went down, how much he's making, now how much more I'm asking from him. So I look at Patrick Mahomes. Why is Patrick Mahomes someone that I think is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen? Because after he got the money, he played even better with less talent around him.
Yep.
That's how.
Yep.
That's why he's such a unique player.
Now, do you believe Brock Purdy's capable of doing that?
How many guys are?
I know.
Right now, Josh Allen is set to make a lot of money, and the Bills made a lot of moves to trim the fat because of how much the quarterback is making currently. I'm sitting here and I'm going, yeah, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has a dud year. God, I feel like Josh Allen's going to make it work with whoever's out there.
It feels like that. I would take Josh Allen right now.
I look at Lamar Jackson, and though Lamar has nowhere near the playoff success that Brock Purdy has had, even in Brock's short amount of time, Brock has played better in the... This is an easy sentence. Brock has played better than Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. No one can argue it. It's pretty... The data backs it up. He's had multiple games that are better than any one of Lamar's playoff games, even though the second half against the Texans was really good. Lamar has done it with so many different weapons on that team and lack of weapons that I'm kind of like, yeah, he's going to make it work during the regular season with just about anybody out there, as long as he's healthy. Like, his track record speaks to that.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, I'm even hesitant. Like, I think Joe Burrow is awesome.
He's got injury concerns.
Big time.
So,
and what's it look like if he doesn't have T. Higgins and it's just Jamar Chase? Yeah. What is it going to look like without Mixon this year?
I don't know. But who they signed as a running back? They replaced Mixon with somebody. Who they replaced him with? Who did he replace Joe Mixon with? The Cincinnati Bengals. Hold on. Had to sneeze there. In case you're wondering why we're talking about Brock Purdy resetting Zach Moss from Indianapolis. And he ran hard last year. Played well. I think he'll be a good fit with Cincinnati. But they also have a backup. The backup running back from Michigan is really good. He's going to get some touches as well. He has some big plays.
I can see them drafting the running back who was the senior this year out of Michigan.
Yeah, Blake Corum.
I like him.
Jed York. The reason why we're talking about Brock Purdy's money and contract extension because Jed York said this yesterday at the owners' meetings down in Orlando, Florida.
And I think it's a good problem when your quarterback is one of your highest paid guys on your team and in the league. So there's a lot of planning that goes into it. I'm glad that we have Prague, JL, Kyle. Like they're the ones that will figure out the details of it. And I just have to sign the check. So my part in that's pretty easy.
That's kind of hard too, isn't it?
It's not hard. I mean, it's what the market is, right? Like it's not like Brock is going to ask for something that no one has ever asked for before. You have, I don't know how many players making over $40 million as a quarterback right now. And when we signed Jimmy several years ago, you know, it was the largest deal in the history of the NFL for 3 minutes. But we were paying Jimmy 26 or 27, and you see like the market has it's changed. And whether I like it or not, like that's what the market is. And you have to accept the reality of the world. And to me, the quarterback is the most important position, not just in football, but in all sports. And those guys should be paid a lot of money.
They should be paid a lot of money.
What if I told you this? Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback in the history of the NFL to win a Super Bowl, multiple now, where he had more than 13% of the salary cap tied up into his own contract.
What if you told me that?
Yeah, what does that mean anything to you in terms of team building?
It just means that he's great and that it's also not feasible to give the quarterback that big of a percentage of the cap and expect to win multiple
in
Super
that
Bowls.
year. Yeah.
Now, you can't compete. When you do have a quarterback, you're basically identifying a guy that can help you win 10 games or at least get to the playoffs. Because you need a little luck in the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. The Chiefs had some luck. L'Jarius Sneed stripping Hollywood Brown at the goal line there, coming up with a big fumble. That was huge.
That was unbelievable.
That was an unbelievable play.
Line.
Zay Flowers. Who did I say?
Hollywood Brown.
Brown. Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
Zay Flowers.
It was Zay. Zay
Flowers.
Zay had a wild game.
Hollywood Browns are looking great with the Chiefs, by the way.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown will look great with the Chiefs. I love Hollywood Brown. Oh, my God. So if you got a quarterback like that, you're going to you're saying to yourself, I at least got a chance to go to the postseason. So the Josh Allens and the Joe Burrows, those guys are getting paid. The one guy I look at him like Justin Herbert, $52.5 million per year. Well, really? But let's see what it looks like with a real head coach in Jim Harbaugh.
But here's the thing on Herbert. I think we all have to acknowledge when you pay him $52 million, well, that's why Mike Williams isn't there.
And that's why Keenan Allen's in Chicago.
Exactly. And that's why they were going to restructure Bosa and Mac. Like, you can't pay everyone in those situations. I just don't know. I don't know if the average fan understands how complex it is to field the roster around him and how it's impossible to win unless you hit on those draft picks with that high-paid quarterback.
I will push back on that. By the way, somebody made a great point in the chat. The Magic haven't played since Saturday. The
Orlando Magic?
Yeah. So they've had 1, 2, 3 days, full days off. Now, they may be a little rusty today. When it comes to that, whatever it is, I think I want to give the average fan a lot more credit. I think today's fan, whether they're average or not, understands the cap more so than any era before.
Oh, no doubt.
We have all the access to Spotrac over the cap. We understand what's what. I think today's fan is as educated on their teams more so than any era before. Like, they're on top of it. So I think, but
sure, we understand the consequences?
Them. I do. I think a lot of fans understand the consequences.
Then why is this get the bag culture then, B? Like, I feel
because they want individual players to just get their money. They're ignoring all the team stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
They just want that player to get what's right, to get his money, and figure out the cap, and figure out ways to build the cap around him. I think get the bag culture. Right. It's one thing they want an individual to get paid. It's your one time to cash in. Let's go get paid. Like, DeMarcus Cousins never got that big payday because he got hurt, right? We all wanted him to get the bag. Yeah. Didn't happen because he got hurt. We see players like that in football, see that in baseball, see that in basketball. We see it all the time. Guys have lost draft positions because of being hurt. Jake Butt, I remember the tight end out of Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
He was a baller. Broke his leg in the Orange Bowl.
That's right.
He didn't even have to play. Now he's on Big Ten Network as an analyst. Didn't have an NFL career.
What was it, Marcus Lattimore?
Marcus Lattimore.
Is it great? I mean, he's one of the number one examples. Well, the way that they've been built, and I know Jimmy was making $27 million at one point. I think it was for 2 years. The cap, it was that high. It might have been 3 or 4. They've done a good job of drafting at the beginning of Jimmy's tenure. So you had cheap Debo, cheap Fred Warner, cheap Nick Bosa. You had some inexpensive, unbelievable contracts for you. But the last 3 years, expensive Debo, expensive Trent, expensive Fred Warner, now expensive Nick Bosa, expensive Charvarius Ward in free agency, expensive Armstead. So the team is going to have to evolve. If you pay one guy that much in the cap, you have to get inexpensive skill position guys, and you're not going to be able to spend in free agency the way that you have the last couple of years.
No, you're not. You're not at all. You're not at all. So 888-957-9570. I think people understand the cap. We understand what it means to reset the quarterback market. We know what it means, what it may mean for the 49ers moving forward in terms of the players that they have. Now, at some point, they're going to move off of Deebo Samuel. He's getting paid $28 million this year and $24 million next year. He's obviously a candidate. George Kittle, how long does he have left? Trent Williams, how long does he have left? So there will be money that will be rolled over. And I'm sure Brock Purdy, knowing that, hey, it takes a team, and watching Tom Brady, and watching these players, watching Patrick Mahomes basically say, I'm going to restructure my deal to help us out to make other moves around the margins here. I see Brock Purdy as being that guy, so I don't think it's going to hamstring the 49ers whatsoever, just looking a year from now. I just think it's very, very premature to be talking about this. When I saw the report, I was just like, we got another year. Now this is hanging over Brock Purdy as he steps on the football field for every single game this season. Is he going to have a clear mind? Every throw he makes, every game he's playing, like, damn, I'm losing money. I'm winning money. Or does he even think like that? I don't know.
I don't know.
I just don't think, I don't understand why this is news a year before he needs to get paid. Like, I understand why it's news because he said resetting the quarterback market, the terminology there. I'm thinking, whoa, resetting the quarterback market.
I would have just said, we'll handle it when we need to handle it. Like that, it's not up yet, so there's really nothing to say about it, and we will deal with that down the line when we need to deal with that.
The owner's coming out just basically said he's going to reset the quarterback market. I'm just thinking, what if Brock Purdy becomes the 15th best quarterback in the league when he was a top 5 quarterback last season? What if he regresses?
Or what if he has a monster year and a bunch of guys get hurt? Now you really have to pay. What does he want, $75 million?
Wow.
Right? So you've set yourself up for a no-win situation.
Brock Purdy's going to want $60 million a year?
I mean, by then, yeah, that might be the number. I mean, Dak right now is like, I think, has a $60 million cap hit, Bonte. He's better than Dak, or at least what he's shown.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And even if the cap is at 225, like 60, 75 million, that's 20, 25, 30% of the cap, depending on where it lands.
I think a lot of people would freak out.
Freak out?
I think a lot of people will freak out if you got that.
This is why I don't know why they haven't, like, move your books around so that you're ready to be able to have the franchise tag in your back pocket. I don't know why we don't use it more in this league. It kind of bugs me because I think it's a great tool that teams very seldom use properly.
Yeah, I like the franchise. I like the franchise tag on Brock because you could play it year by year.
Yes.
And you can still be in the quarterback market to go do some shopping. I actually like that. Like the Jimmy deal, it was a very well-constructed deal for the 49ers.
Yes.
Where they were able to opt out after year. Did that last year, of course. They had to let him off as a free agent. I kind of like that tactic with Brock Purdy because I do think he's really good. But when you attach the number next to him, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't see $60 million a year quarterback in the Super Bowl or the playoffs. I didn't see $50 million a year quarterback in the playoffs or the Super Bowl. That's what my eyes saw. The regular season, sure, we saw a guy who was a worthy MVP candidate. Boy, 50 to 60 million a year for Brock Purdy. The owner says that he's going to reset the quarterback market. Oh, my gosh. We got a poll today on YouTube. Over 300 votes. Would you be okay with the 49ers giving Brock Purdy a deal that resets the quarterback market?
What's the answer? Yeah, I want to hear what
39% says yes. 61% says no. They would not be good or okay with the 49ers giving Brock Purdy a deal that resets the quarterback market. Like, to me, that is just resetting the quarterback market with Brock Purdy. I'm having a tough time. Again, I don't have any issues with Brock Purdy, the quarterback. I didn't see $50 million a year quarterback in the playoffs.
I mean, there were people that didn't want to pay Nick Bosa.
Yeah. Resetting the quarterback market.